Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, no, on YouTube. Or, yeah, but if you do it on PlayStation, you won't be able to play while you CB. Zaremga Sensei, it's my PSN basically. Zaremga underscore Sensei, and then just hit the space bar and type Naruto to Shinobi Striker. Let me try to find it myself, by the way. See if it actually works. Zaremga. I never stream on YouTube. Zaremga underscore Sensei. Naruto to Shinobi Striker. I can't find it. Yeah, just alright. So guys, we're gonna have to go for my channel name, which is Paris, like the city in France, the capital of France, Paris. And then hit the space bar and type in AYAZ. Ayaz, basically. AYAZ. And if you type that, you'll see Naruto to Shinobi Striker live. And you'll see a dude in the left corner with a mustache. That's me.
I see it.
Let me just put this quality of my own screen down. There we go. Alright, so first of all, let me just show you guys the basics real quick. Maybe it's best if y'all just mute that stream. I mean, it's not like I put you guys down with the in-game sound, so there's no way for you to interfere with the audio of the thing itself. But watch this. I'm just gonna go to the basic training because there's no time limit here, and I'll show you what I mean when it comes to this game, when it comes to the movement hacks, because there is a lot. What does that mean? Oh, you oh, no.
Come on, let's go.
Nope. That's all natural. That's 100% pure Ottoman Empire mustache genetics.
First comes movement. Try moving over towards me.
Alright. Shut up, Kakashi. So, I'm gonna give you guys a real quick parkour, and then dissect what I'm doing. Alright? I'm gonna dissect it. Don't worry. Alright. I missed one small part of the parkour. Forgot about it. Which is this right here. I don't know, most people don't notice this jumping part. They don't notice how much faster it is than this. Like, this is normal. And, like, this is just when people click double jump the whole time to go up. And this is what I do. So, yeah. So, starting from the beginning, what the hell am I doing? So the first thing to notice is, or not to notice, but to know just in general, is that the code that is written for the animation of falling, which is this animation right here where I put my hand to the floor and you see the spark coming out of my foot, basically right next to my cape. That animation is the same animation as you have when you land on the wall. You see the spark on the wall and you see my hand going towards the floor. So that animation slows you down in the sense that when that animation is active, you cannot throw wired kunais, you cannot jump, you cannot dash, you cannot do a jutsu, you cannot ultimate, you cannot block, you cannot, you can't do anything except for chakra jumps. When you hit this code, which you hit on the walls and on the floor anytime you have an impact with the wall or the floor, which is why I call it the impact code. So when you're on impact, you can cancel out the animation by clicking R2 if you got the default settings. Now I've got really abridged, weird ass bootleg settings where I have chakra jump on square, but it works for any controller type, and any like default settings just work perfectly fine for this shit. So what you want to do is you want to understand that the moment you hit the floor, you can cancel out this animation by clicking R2. And don't worry about making sounds in the party, guys, because the party audio is not being shared, as far as I know. Wait, I can actually check that real quick. Let me check the party audio real quick for a second. Audio is shared. Oh, no. Okay, now it's not shared. Nobody can hear you guys on stream, so you guys can make as much sound of it as you want. So, here's the thing. The moment you hit the floor, you get into this impact code, right? And this impact code slows you down. Like, I'm just going to spam jump while I'm moving around to make you guys understand how long it takes before you can jump again. So, boom, 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 boom. It takes so long for you to jump again, even though if I use my trick, basically, I can just jump instantly while I hit the floor. Jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. There's no delay. The moment you hit the floor, you can jump again. And the reason I can do that is because what I'm doing is the moment I hit impact, meaning I hit the floor or the wall, I click R2 and then the desired input. So I could do R2 into an attack, R2 into a jutsu, R2 into dashes, R2 into blocks, R2 into jumps, R2 into kunais. It's also a possibility. Anything is possible from R2. You can click anything while you're clicking R2 and you will overwrite the R2. Right? You can jump, you can dash, you can block, do whatever basically. And so the thing to learn is that if you're in motion, right, and you hit the floor, you can click R2 and X at the same time to reset that motion basically and keep going, which is the first level of floor mechanics basically. The first level of... Right. And so that's the first layer of the first level of advanced mechanics on the floor. You've got about 6 layers to this shit. So once you figure that out, what you gotta figure out is that if you click dash, which is just blocking with a directional input, while you click jump, meaning you already have dash or block in this case clicked, and you jump with a directional input, you will automatically do a dash after the jump, like instantaneously. So if you hold L2 pretty much, and then you hold a side, no matter which side it is, and you've already dashed, but you're still holding a side basically. So you're never going through the center of your control stick anymore. And then you click jump, you'll notice that you'll do a jump dash, like real fast. And you can keep doing this pretty much, like you can just jump dash. And I'm not clicking dash anymore at all, I'm just jumping, basically. And so the moment you hit the dash on the floor with the jump, you have 2 options. Either you drop to the floor and you click the R2 jump again while still holding this dash. So you just keep holding L2 the whole time. Either you do this, right, what I'm doing right now, or you do a double jump. Now the double jump is preferred, but it's a lot harder because if you do a double jump, you need to let go of the dash when you click the second jump. So it's like you jump and then it dashes and then you let go of it. So I'm basically, the moment I hit the floor, I click R2, L2, X. Like the instant I hit the floor, I click all 3 buttons. And then after I click R2, L2, X, I click another X. So I'm gonna show it on the screen right now. It kind of looks like this. This is it. It's like the 3 and then 1. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. And you don't hold it. It's like 3, 1. Like you let go of it. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Alright? So that's the way to move around. I don't even know why I got 5 people watching this stream right now. Anyway, I never stream on YouTube, ever. So I don't know where these guys are coming from, but this is funny. Anyhow, back to the lesson. So R2 L2X gives you this. R2 L2 XX basically. So R2 L2 and X is at the same time, and then you click another X right afterwards. That's how you move this fast, basically. Now you only really want to do this if you still have a substitute on. If you don't have a substitute, this shit is not going to help you that much, because using dash in mid-air will make it so that you are unable to recover if you get hit by anything strong. So if like a Vanishing Rasengan hits you or something, you're just going to pitfall because you dashed in mid-air and you do not have a substitute to save yourself. So only use this ability to either maneuver or to use it when you still have a substitute, basically. Now why do I say use it when you maneuver? Because if you just use R2X, which is pretty much just as fast as R2L2X, the downside of R2X is that there's no maneuverability. Like if you go forward and then you want to go backwards, like you're going to be super slow for a second there, and you'll see that when going left and right, basically. If you go left to right the whole time, you'll see how slow your character is while it's trying to do this shit. Well, it's like sort of what do you call that? Going around corners. So to mitigate that, what you want to do is you want to start out with R2L2XX to go to the direction you want to go to, and then once you hit the floor, continue on with R2X. So it looks kind of like this. You start with R2L2XX, and then once you're going the direction you know you're going to keep going in, you just switch to R2X. So you go R2X, R2X, R2X. Let's say we move to these 2 trees. You want to go to the left, you go like that, and you keep going. So make sure your R2X just doesn't stop with the momentum. So I'm between these 2 trees. I want to go to the right after this moment. I go there with R2X, and then I'll switch, right, with that R2L2X to the right. And then once I hit the floor from that side, I'll just keep going in with the R2X. Now, if you don't have a substitute, but you still need to be maneuvering, there's another way of doing this, which is a little bit riskier, and it takes a little bit more skill practice, but if you get this down, you'll have a lot of variety, and you'll have a safe way of doing it. So it's safer if it works, it's riskier if it fails, because it's technically easier to get hit. But if you get hit while you're doing R2L2XX and you have no substitute, then you're basically done for. So you want to do this once you blow your substitute. So what that looks like is the moment you hit the floor, you click L2 and R2 at the same time, and with the directional input, which basically just looks like this. Now make sure that this variation where you're clicking L2 and R2 on the floor comes with a little bit delay between the R2 and L2. You want to press the R2 before you press the L2. But the delay is so small, you should not see it as a delay. You should see it as like a stagger, as if you're pressing both buttons right next to each other with one finger. It's that kind of delay. It's like so close to each other. So the reason you do that is just to make sure that 100% out of the time that it works. Because if you click them at the exact same moment, your character will block. Like this. So you want to keep a little bit of delay, which shows you that blue arrow. Right before it dashes, it shows you the blue arrow. And sometimes you'll even hear the soundtrack of the chakra itself. That sound right there. That's all fine. Now the reason that I include this version, even though I myself don't really use it on the floor, because I'm confident enough with my game skill and my camera position and everything that jumping like with R2, L2, XX is like always more beneficial to me than the other one. But you guys should use the other one because you guys don't have a SCUF controller, whereas I can just move the camera while I'm doing everything. You guys cannot. So, taking that into consideration, there is still another level that uses this technique, which is the walls. You see, when you use R2X on the walls to get around, you'll have this weird-ass glitch every now and then, which basically looks like that. When I hit the wall, sometimes it will jump up the wall. It will go like up instead of jumping off of it. There's no way to really mitigate this glitch 100% of the time. It will only happen about 5% of the time that you do it. And the way to get rid of that glitch is to just not use R2X on the wall. If you use R2L2 and then jump, which is basically like without counting the R2s, it's just L2X, 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 L2X. It's super simple. Putting in the R2, it starts with R2. Jesus, my R2 is heavy. It starts with R2 into L2X, L2X, R2, L2X, L2X, R2, L2X, R2X, I mean L2X, R2, L2X, L2X. Jesus, my brain is frying. Because I've got different buttons. For me, it's like square jump, square jump. So yeah, that's what you're supposed to use on the walls. If you use this, you'll automatically gain altitude. Like just by going fast. R2, L2, like R2, L2X, 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 L2X. And every time you click the L2 on the wall, you click R2 right before you click the L2. You'll gain altitude. Like always. Looks like this. And then at the very end, you'll be at the top. Now, in this first part of the parkour, when I went up to this wall, I used R2L2X the fastest way I could just to get this altitude to the top and then drop myself all the way to the bottom and then drop again and then use this technique right here. Now this technique is the only place where you can use R2X reliably. And the combo is R2XX. You need to do a double jump, but the first X and the R is together with an R2. So it's R2XX, 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 and just keep going on faster and faster. Eventually you'll notice that you can click R2 with X at the same time. So it'll just look like this. Even like I'm clicking R2 every time I hit that wall. Every double jump, like every first of every double jump, I click R2 with it. But I click it so perfectly with the X that you don't even see that line anymore. Alright. Moving back to dashes and then jumps and then dashes. So to accurately practice the dash jump on the walls, I recommend people using, I recommend people spamming it on this wall that I'm on right now, and then making yourself drop at the end of that, and then doing it again until you get to the other like metal wall.
That's it.
So you drop, and then you get back on, and then you're at the metal wall. And here at the metal wall, you have this nice line that indicates a certain altitude. Let's just call it the midway point. So the midway point is a very clear way of visualizing how to stay at the same altitude. So from here on, you're gonna try to get onto this walls by just basically dash, jump, and the moment you hit the wall, you want to hit the wall with the R2, L2 on that line. Now obviously after you dash, you'll go off of the line, but the point is to land on the line, right? Consistently. So if you can just do dash, jump on the line, the moment you hit that line, just be on it every single time. That way you'll get a nice understanding of how to stay on the same altitude. Because if you do it too fast, you'll gain altitude, and if you do it too slow, you'll lose altitude. But this way it's easy to like understand how to keep that same line, basically, of altitude. After you've done this, you've mastered that, you'll go on to this log right here. And there are two differences between this variation that I'm showing on the line and the variation that I'm going to show right now. And it all has to do with altitude. It's all about altitude control. The only reason why we're doing this is to control your altitude, to understand this whole jumping and how it changes your altitude. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do this one thing that glitches usually, that we said that we're not going to do on walls. It works on round surfaces like this, but you can also use this on walls, but the glitch might appear every now and then, which is where you jump upwards suddenly and you can't do anything about that. It happens like 5% out of the time. It happens like once every 200 jumps on a round surface as well, but that's too small of an error not to use it on, because the dash version is slower than the instant jump version. Like the instant jump with R2 jump on a wall is way faster than the dash version. It's just that the dash version is 100% reliable and it still dodges everything in the game, and the other version is not reliable at all. Because if you fuck it up once, which on a flat surface happens a lot, if you fuck it up, you are going to get hit by a good player. Like a good player is instantly going to punish you for it. So the last technique looks like this. I call it baiting or defending. What it basically means is that the first time I'm going to move across this log in a way that if there was like a range player in that, like on that tree right there, he would be willing to try to hit me with a jutsu, thinking he might be able to, but still miss me. And the second version is the defending version, where you really do not want to get hit by anything, nor do you want the enemies to see you, but you still want to move fast, and so you'll use that version. So the first version, the baiting version, looks pretty much like this. You just jump, and then once you hit the wall, you click R2 jump, and then once you are at the altitude that you were at after you jumped, you're going to do a dash jump and then move towards the log again. So you jump, click R2 jump, dash jump, R2 jump, dash jump, and the dash jump part is once you've reached the altitude of the log again, right? So jump, R2 jump, dash jump, R2 jump, dash jump, and that way people will be able to see you and might even think they might be able to hit you, which is going to waste their jutsus because you're moving way too fast for the game. Nothing is going to hit you at this speed, basically. Not a majestic, not a wind breach, just nothing. No regular jutsu will hit you. No leaf rising wind, no regular jutsu will hit you. No vanishing Rasengan, nothing. They'll all like be dodged either below you, above you, sideways. You'll dodge it either way, unless you're literally jumping straight into it. But we're talking about a scenario where the guy is on your side, basically on your flanking side. Nothing will hit you on that side. So that's the first version. The second version, you try to do the same thing, but you do the dash jump later. Instead of doing it while you're on the line, you do the dash jump part of it while you're under the log. So the dash jump will get you back up on the log, and then you instantly hit another R2X, getting you off of the log. You'll fall under the log, you'll do a dash jump, getting back up onto the log, which looks like this. Jump below it, and then jump below it, jump. You see that? Where you do an R2X below, you dash jump, and then R2X below your dash jump. So R2X below you dash jump, R2X below you dash jump. If you're having difficulties with this whole thing, just not just this last version, but all of the wall cancels basically. The reason you're having that difficulty is because you're not using your left stick towards the wall that you're trying to get at. If you use your left stick to try to get to the wall while you're clicking that R2, that's when it's really gonna work. Because if you just click R2 and you press left while you're right next to the wall, it won't even hit the wall. It won't even get you on it. It will just throw a wired kunai to the left. This info though, that what I just said, should make you realize, should make you like understand that what we're doing right here in reality is we're hitting a wired kunai to the wall so close to it that it instantly puts your feet on the wall instead of actually going into the animation of a wired kunai. That's what we're really doing. I'm not waiting until my character touches the wall. I'm just getting so close to it and then clicking R2 jump or R2 dash that it instantly gets me to that jump or dash, even though I haven't actually touched the wall. So we're going back to the whole parkour thing just from the start. We've got R2X, R2L2X, R2L2XX at the same time like that in midair. Then we've got L2X, 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 L2X with the R2 every time you want to hit that L2 on the wall. And we go back to the floor, you get R2XX. Then we get to this line where we do the dashes on the line, which is the same thing as it was on the walls, but now we try to keep the altitude. Then we get to this place where we try to do the bait version. And the other version where we do this, where they don't even see us, but we still gotta cross the log. And that concludes the first level of advanced mechanics, basically. There are a lot of different things that you can add to this. Like you can do a lot of crazy shit like this. You can do like mid-air wired kunai switches. Did you see my flick? Like I was looking forward, wired kunai came out, but it went backwards like this. You can do that kind of stuff. You can do a lot of, oops, I'm sorry. You can do a lot of shit like that. Yo, Syria, what's good? Yo, Syria, I was with a bunch of randos in a party, and they just asked me if I could show it, and I didn't know how to show it, so I just thought I would just do it on YouTube. That way it's a video. That way people can just keep rewatching it, I guess. And from now on, I'm just gonna forward towards people to this video. Somebody's asking me something in the party. The way to get to this, it stays here because it's on YouTube. The way to get this practice mode, guys, is just to go to the basic training from Kakashi. The very first mission is this mission. It has no timer. That's why it says how to move, how to adjust my camera, and how to jump on the screen. Because it's the very first mission. So yeah, Syria, I'm just doing this for the guys in the party. And I think I'm just going to use this video to get people to do this as a tutorial. Like when people are like, how the fuck do you move like that? I'll be like, watch this video. So yeah. There's like a lot of things you guys can do, man. There's so much you guys can learn. Like this one especially is not useful in certain scenarios, but in other scenarios it's so useful, it's ridiculous. It's like mind-bogglingly useful. It's like this right here that I'm using right now. It's something that you could use on flag battle, on flat surfaces, to dodge everything basically. You can just go like this, blah 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 blah. Because the speed at which I'm going in right now on this wall is the same speed you'll go at with a flag on your back, which is faster and better than this, because the tracking that appears when the code arises from jumping is better for the enemy than if you're doing this on the wall. Like the tracking of the jutsus that is trying to hit you, it's not registering as well when it's trying to track you than compared to if you're jumping like this. Like when you jump like this and whatnot, the slower you are, the better an enemy's jutsu tracks you compared to doing this. And then you've got other things like zigzags. Zigzags is basically, it's like super advanced. It's where you do a jump dash jump in mid-air sideways on a wall, which kind of looks like this. It's basically what I just showed you, but then just using it once with a double jump in between of every single one. And it's really high tier, and it only works if there's zero lag, and then you know it's just not easy to pull off at all. So I'd recommend not even trying that unless you know you're in a fight where nobody has lag and you're in a fight where you already got this shit down like in your back pocket and stuff, whatnot. There are a lot of different things you can learn in this game. Like the wired kunai flick is one that I use a lot just to get people off game, because people that are like super high tier, they look at your character, and when you get into this animation of wired kunai, they instantly recognize it, especially when you move at the high speeds, because the wired kunai keeps you in place, right? While you're clicking, like doesn't matter how fast I'm going, the moment I click wired kunai, I'm standing still. And so that really makes it obvious for the enemy to know where you're going to be. Now, I would only wire kunai if you know that the enemy has no kunais, basically, because they can just interrupt you with a kunai, and if they're good players, then there's no lag. They will interrupt you with a kunai while you do wired kunai. So what that means is doing this flick really gets them off of their game, because then they think like, oh, he's doing a wired kunai, let me charge up this jutsu to hit him with, like a fireball or something, because it's going to be predictable and this and that. But in reality, I'm going the opposite way. Like, I could be going like this, and he would, like, the moment I clicked that wired kunai, he thought I was going to go forward, because I was standing forward in that animation. So he clicks jutsu because he has no more kunais, and then suddenly I'm going sideways. That kind of stuff really gets you up to the next level of like micromanaging in this game, basically. There's so much I could tell you guys, it's ridiculous. It's actually ludicrous. So the L2R2X looks like this. And the beauty of the L2R2X is compared to R2 jump, it has no issue when it comes to maneuvers. Like, you are very mobile in this version, as in you can switch around positions real easy. Like, I could just do like this kind of stuff. You could just go backwards instantly, side to side. If you combine it with the L2 on the floor, you could do something like go left, go right, you know, go right, go left. You could do a lot of shit. The point is to realize that where you dash towards, if you jump after that dash, whether that be on the floor or in the air, that will put you at maximum velocity when it comes to the jump part. That's just the info that you need to understand, basically. And if you're doing that, if you even do that once, like you do dash on the floor and then jump, from that moment on, if you're going to go into a straight or near straight line, you can just do R2X. You don't have to take any risks. You don't have to dash in midair, dash on the floor, nothing. Just R2X. You could even do that if you're already at maximum running speed, because the dash pretty much just puts you at maximum run speed. That's all it does. It's just dash and then jump, and then you can do R2 jump the whole time. Now, coming back to a little bit of micromanagement with the R2, with the jump dash jump, I mean, so jump L2 jump. There's a little thing to note. If you wanna, there's a difference between like how we just looked at that log right there, how we looked at the log, and how you can use altitude at different in different ways. There's that same type of play that you can put on speed versus distance, because with the same resources you could go further but at a lesser speed. What does that look like? Well, basically you can jump from this wall to that wall, from this tree to that tree, without using a wired kunai. But you can't do that if you do jump dash jump real quick, like the way we just taught you. If you do jump dash jump, you'll end at the floor. But if you do jump dash jump, you'll get a lot further. But the speed at which you went that distance is slower compared to just jump dash jump. The jump dash jump part was real fast, but then you just dropped. So what does this mean? This means if you're fighting in mid-air, right? So you're on a wall and you're fighting like blah 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 blah. You're going like that. What you need to understand is if you don't want to fall to the ground, you need to make sure that you time the jump dash jump with some distance between them, because they're the only ways for you to go around. Because if you're playing versus a good player, I repeat, they will hit you while you're doing the wired kunai. That's kind of the trademark of a good player versus a bad player, because every good player knows how to move like this. But the real like trademark, like how to know a real good player versus just a good player that knows the mechanics, is the guy that will interrupt you while you're doing a wired kunai. That's the real badass. So let me see, I'm getting a lot of messages. Alright, so this kind of concludes the basics of advanced movement for walls and floors. And if anybody ever sees this because I recommend it to them, because they asked me how to move like this, and they saw it and they want to see new videos about how to do combat mechanics or advanced movement mechanics, not like the basics of the advanced, but the actual advanced movement mechanics, then just hit me up, you know, send it, say so in the comment section, and we'll see what I can do. Thank y'all for joining me, and see y'all in the next one.